It's not good to go undercover in cults because cults are very good at brainwashing people. The question says, I remember you talking about how it's not a good idea to go undercover in cults because apparently people get sucked into it. How does this happen, even though the person beforehand knew this was a cult? Okay, and this happened very obviously to see with QAnon. There was a journalist who went to investigate QAnon and then went full Q. And the thing is, I repeat, cults are good at brainwashing people, okay? Because we think of cults as bad group, we tend to think not effective group, right? We tend to think stupid, silly, I would never fall for it. There was a Harvard-educated lawyer who unalived on the side of the Branch Davidians at Waco, Texas, right? Like, it has nothing to do with intelligence. I had a very interesting experience when I was doing my master's at said Harvard, and they refused to let me take their course on cults. It was psychology of cults, and it was in the regular psychology masters, not the organizational psychology masters. So I applied to apply it to my master's degree, which they had asked us to do because they're still building the program, and they just said, nope. And their only justification was, it's not enough about groups. Cults, not enough about groups. It's the one thing it has to be is a group. And that was when I realized people do not think of cults as successful groups, right? So now I do a leadership talk, what we can learn about leadership from cults. And I literally start off with, if I told you about a group of more than 10, probably more than 100,000 people that operated around the world at high risk levels for over 50 years, brought in millions and millions of dollars and tended to be devoted for life, you wouldn't tell me that didn't sound like a successful group until I told you that I'm talking about the Children of God religious cult or the Taliban, right? So cults are good at brainwashing. Cult tactics work on almost every person. That's why they do them. That's why corporations use cult tactics on you to motivate you to donate your labor to build their good cults, right? So you are probably not smarter than a cult. You are probably not better at keeping yourself unbrainwashed than a cult is at brainwashing you. And just generally to go undercover in any situation, you need a lot of training and backup and support. That being said, we have the term cognitive dissonance because someone went undercover in a cult. Leon Festinger and his colleague together found a small doomsday cult in 1954 that had a predicted apocalypse on December 21st of that year. He hypothesized that when that happened, when it failed to happen, obviously, all the members were not going to pack up and go home, right? When the cult was obviously wrong, the cult leader was obviously objectively wrong, not everyone was going to pack up and go home. This flew in the face of what we believed about humans and our rationality in 1954. We really, truly still believe that human beings were rational. We're not. We make most of our decisions based on recency bias and social proof. What worked for us most recently and what everyone else around us is doing right now. And sure enough, he was right. And more than half of the people did not pack up and go home. And in fact, they doubled down harder on both their belief and on recruiting because they needed it to be true. The people that didn't go home tend to be the people who had burned all their bridges and really this was the only choice left for them. I call these people the Rudy Giulianis, right? He's not going down in history as America's mayor. He's going down in history as the old man standing outside Four Seasons Total Landscaping with dye running down his face, right? So he has to go down with the Trump ship. This is my grandfather. My grandfather still runs the money for the Children of God, even though it fell apart and is a shell of a thing. But he donated 50 years of his life, dedicated, I don't know why I say donated, and has lost most of his children and grandchildren. He cannot admit that it was all wrong. Hey, sir, I know, I know you don't like me using MAGA as a cult example and unbraiding it for everybody, but that's literally my job. And I've told you that it's a conflict of interest for you to be messaging Pete Kegsbreath on Signal every day. Okay? So just, sir, other dogs are allowed to exist. Yeah, even if they make less than $15K a year. And it's not fair for your guy to be taxing them. It's horrible. Thank you. Sorry, y'all, my dog's a Republican. So, I've actually written a lot about cognitive dissonance in my book that's coming out, Culting of America, to try to explain all of this. People actually ask me this quite a bit. Hey, I think this thing's a cult. Should I go undercover? No, please don't. Cults are good at brainwashing. When I joined the army, I knew it was a cult on the first day. That still didn't mean I could prevent the brainwashing. I'm Daniella, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote a book called Uncultured about growing up in the Children of God religious cult and going into the cult of the U.S. Army. You can get signed copies attached here. Sir, I'm not going to forget to tell them that Culting of America comes out on January 20th, the 1-year anniversary of living in a cult. I'm going to tell them. We're going to have a big event in D.C. There will be jokes about crowd size, don't you worry.